Millions of Americans borrowed beyond their means, bought homes they couldn't afford, and assumed that housing prices would always rise and the day of reckoning would never come. But much of it was due to the irresponsibility of large.
We fought for our principles. We voted against each other. But because we assumed the best in one another and not the worst, we found room for progress.
The work of this panel would be assumed by a new agency called NASA. The research into these weapons of war would lead to the missions. Carved into the marble behind me are the words of our first commander-in-chief. When we assumed the soldier, we did not lay aside the citizen. Just as the contributions that our servicemen and women make to this nation don't end when they take off their uniform, neither do our obligations to them.
Frankly, I think that Chile has assumed and will continue to assume its responsibility with our fate, with our region, with our country, and to the extent possible, with the rest of the world.
I was proud to nominate Marty as Army Chief of Staff, and I realized he only assumed that position last month. The American people have assumed that if you want to be President of the United States, that your life's an open book. When it comes to things like your finances. And since America was attacked on that clear September morning, millions more have assumed that mantle, defining one of the greatest generations of military service this country has ever produced. When I assumed office, leaders and people across the region were expressing their desire for greater American engagement. And so as president, we are looking forward, though, to spending time with one another in fellowship and good food and good entertainment. And undoubtedly we'll find that we have more in common than sometimes is assumed.
When I got to school, I sometimes encountered teachers who assumed that a girl from a humble background like mine wouldn't be a successful student.
It was assumed that that was the fate of man. Because it was just assumed that in a country this wealthy, that this is one of the basic rights, not privileges, of citizenship in a well-to-do country like ours.